This is the Secure Family Podcast. Welcome, friend. I'm Andy Murphy, the host and founder of The Secure Dad. This show is all about empowering parents to protect themselves and their family. I believe that security is the foundation of happiness. I want your family to be safe and happy. If that sounds like something that resonates with you, subscribe to the show because there is always something new to talk about. The information that I share on this podcast is for general information purposes only. My goal is to empower you to make safer decisions for yourself and your family because our safety is our own responsibility. Today, I'll share what you need to know to stop credit card fraud and how to respond to it when it happens to you or a family member. All of that and more coming up on the Secure Family Podcast. If you're like me, you're helping your parents navigate the ever-changing digital world. I am very concerned about their generation. The phone and email scams are getting too good, too fast. And scammers are targeting them every day. Many times scammers buy real information from data broker sites and misuse it to target people. It's hard to spot a scam when they have decades worth of your data, like your real addresses, your work history, and family member names. If you're worried about a parent or loved one like I am, Delete Me can help. They will remove your data from hundreds of data broker sites, giving you and your family some of your privacy back. And you can add a family member to your existing Delete Me plan. That's right, you can have their data removed too. They get all the benefits of Delete Me and don't have to learn a new password. You can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/dad and use promo code DAD at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/dad, code DAD. So credit card fraud is something that can happen to any of us. It's when we realize that there is a charge on our account that we didn't put there, or maybe we get an alert from our credit card company that we made a purchase 6 states away. It can happen in many different forms. It can be taken in many different ways, and we're going to talk about all of that, plus what you can do to make sure that you act responsibly and quickly when you get a fraud alert. First, let's talk about how this happens, because you're probably wondering, did I do something wrong? And chances are, the answer is no. Credit card fraud can happen to anybody. And certainly you don't need to feel ashamed when this happens, not at all. I can tell you this from experience because this has happened to me more than once, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later. Here are a few ways that bad guys can get your credit card information, and once you see how complicated this is, you'll understand why I say you shouldn't feel bad. So one of the first ways that they can get your credit card info is using a skimming device at a gas pump or an ATM. This is when a device is placed over the credit card reader at the gas pump, and it scans your card data while an unseen camera captures your PIN code as you type it in. In fact, I've done an entire episode on how this works. If you want to see this completely fascinating process, check out episode number 313 from February of this year. Absolutely fascinating. Phishing emails are another big one. These are scam emails that look like they are from your bank or a company that you do business with. I've gotten ones that look like a real invoice from a furniture store in my state, and it even had the PayPal logo on it. It, caused me to pause for just a second. I realized that, I hadn't ordered a bunch of furniture, but I realized that it was fake. And regardless, these emails trick you into giving over your credit card information, your PIN, and even your CVV number. The amount of social engineering that goes into these emails is astounding. These scammers do this every day, and this is what they do for a living, and they're pretty good at it. Now, seemingly this happens every week, but major shopping websites are getting hacked. It happens to big box stores like Target and Home Depot. I was rolled up in the one at Home Depot sometime, before COVID. So really, your credit card information and your data really is only as safe as the company that's holding it. We used to be able to trust those companies to do that, but the attackers against those companies are getting so good at what they do, it's hard for them to fend off every single attack. So we may lose our credit card number simply for being a customer at a store. And then there's everybody's favorite, the data breach. You didn't know a company had your credit card info, but somehow they did, and now they've lost it because it was on an unencrypted drive that anybody could access from the internet. Fun times. And of course, There's also the classic stolen wallet or somebody using an RFID sniffer to snag the emission that comes off your credit card. So there's lots of different ways that your card can be compromised. And before we go on, let's define what credit card fraud is, because it means a lot of things, and you need to understand that when you work through this with a credit card company. So, credit card fraud is the unauthorized use of a credit card or credit card information to make purchases or withdraw funds without the cardholder's consent. It is a form of financial fraud that can involve stolen physical cards, a hacked account, or even fraudulent transactions. So this even means if your kid takes your card and buys something without your permission, that also is considered credit card fraud. So as we can see in 2025, thieves don't even need to be physically present to steal your card. They just need the number, and once they have that, they are off to the races. All right, so let's say that this happens to you, and you are a vigilant person and you spot a charge on your credit card bill that you don't recognize. Maybe it's a random $5 purchase from a gas station across the country, or a $300 purchase at some sneaker store that you've never heard of. In my case, it was actually a surf shop in California. So you've seen this. Now what do? The first thing you need to do is not panic. Remember, this is fixable, and it happens every day to good people, which is why credit card companies have fraud departments. Very, very large fraud departments. But you need to still act quickly. So here's what I recommend that you do. First, if you can, lock or freeze your card immediately. Most card apps let you do this with one tap, and that really will stop the new charges instantly while still keeping your credit card valid. Next, you need to call the card issuer. Tell them what's going on. They'll cancel the compromised card, issue a new one, and then they're going to start their own investigation. But please make sure that you do not Google the number for the fraud department. Use the number that's on back of the card if you still have possession of the physical card. I know people who have searched online for a number for a credit card company, and it was a separate scam that preyed on people in a panic. So unfortunately, Google cannot weed out all of the scams that are Google ads, so please just make sure you are calling the right number. Number 3, review your recent transactions and go through them carefully. Even tiny charges, like a random $1.50, can be a test charge to see if a card works. Many times scammers will do a small test charge to make sure that their copied card works before they move on to like the $500 charge at Best Buy. And lastly, change your password and your PIN codes, especially for your bank accounts and any place where that card was stored. If you reuse passwords across sites, now's the time to change that. I know it's a pain, but it's much better than trying to recover accounts that you are locked out of. And there is some good news. Under the Fair Credit Billing Act, you are only liable for up to $50 in unauthorized charges, and most issuers won't make you pay anything if you report this quickly. In fact, I've never paid for a fraudulent credit card charge ever if I reported it. So for many reasons, I'm going to just encourage you, act fast, don't put this off. After you report the fraud, your card company will go to work. And this is usually what happens. There might be some deviations, but generally, this is the flow. They're going to cancel your old card and they're going to mail you a new one. Now, they used to mail you one overnight, and that is not always the case. I actually had to wait, I think, 7 or 8 days to get one time. So that could be a problem for some people. Just keep that in mind. And if you use Apple Pay for that card, you're going to need to delete that old card and then add the new one on when it arrives. Now, they're also going to investigate these charges, and they may ask you to sign a statement saying that you didn't make them, or sometimes they'll actually ask you that over the phone and record your voice, and that will act as your statement. And in most cases, you'll get the money refunded or the charge will be voided. Now, not all banks and credit card companies are created equal. All the ones that I've ever worked with have treated me really well, but that is not always the case. Some institutions may treat you like a criminal until they know otherwise. You may be guilty until proven innocent. So if things get frustrating, don't be afraid to escalate. You could also file a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and that is going to be the cfpb.gov. Once you've gotten this fire put out, let's make sure that it doesn't reignite. Here are some practical ways that I have protected my family's finances based on what I've learned. I highly suggest that you set up transaction alerts. I get an alert from my credit card app every time we make a charge, even if it's a small one. It annoys my wife, but I know immediately if something is off. This is actually how I've caught fraudulent transactions in the past. And there are times that I will text my wife and say, hey, did you just charge something to a website that we don't normally use? And then she'll say, yeah, this is, for whatever. And she gives a good reason for it. And it's important when you do this not to be accusatory in these conversations. You're just asking for verification so you don't have to shut everything down quickly. This doesn't need to lead to an argument about who's spending money and that sort of stuff. Just come at it from the point of view of, hey, this looked weird to me and I just want to confirm it before I, shut down our credit cards. Now, you can also use virtual credit cards online. Some banks and companies let you generate a single-use card number, which is actually pretty cool. This is more of an advanced technique, but it is an option that's available to you. Now, some of you might have guessed what I'm going to tell you next, and that is that you need to freeze your credit. If you've been following me for the last few years, you know that I am a major supporter of freezing your credit. It is easy to do, and after the national public data breach, we should all have our credit frozen. And no, this does not affect the use of a credit card. This just makes sure that no one can open a credit card in your name without your permission. This prevents anybody from opening a new account in your name, even if they have your social security number, and you can do it for free at Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Now, while we're kind of on this subject, we talked about passwords, and I know nobody likes passwords, nobody likes remembering them, but reusing the same old password is like handing out a spare key to every website you've ever visited. I would like for you to consider now being a good time to go ahead and get a password manager. You can look at NordPass, or if you have an iPhone, you can use that one that is just built into the phone. That's a whole lot better than using password 1234 for everything. Now, what I've covered, these are not overreactions. This is what the industry says to do. These are smart, protective steps. By doing this, you're not being paranoid. You're being a responsible adult looking out for your family and your good name. And when this happens, it's important to share what's going on with your kids. One day, they're going to have credit cards, and they need to be ready for when that happens, or they may have credit cards already now. Impart this life lesson to them so they know what to do when it happens. They can follow in your example. And this should be a part of any discussion about getting a credit card with your kids for the first time. Now, here's what you can tell your kids to help them understand how to keep their credit card safe in addition to what we've already covered. You should never share your credit card number with your friends, in person or online. I know you might owe somebody something, but don't share that credit card number. If something seems too good to be true, like a phishing email, well, then it probably is, and that's something that you're going to need to avoid, and honestly, that's just good life advice. That just doesn't pertain only to credit cards. That's just good life advice. And then always check with your parents before buying anything online to make sure that you're buying it from a good, reputable website, that you're paying a good price and all that sort of stuff. Just like we teach them to wear helmets or lock the door, this is another part of just raising safe, aware kids in a digital world. I mentioned my credit card fraud issues earlier, so let me give you a little bit more background on what happened. So 3 years, 3 different cards, 3 different cases of fraud all in a row. And now that I sit and think about it, I actually think there have been more cases of credit card fraud than that, but I just do remember there were 3 years in a row where our card was compromised and we had to get new ones. And that is a real shame, isn't it? And to this day, I don't know how my credit cards were compromised. Maybe it was a breach, maybe it was a skimmer, but every time I went through the process, locked things down, and I got things fixed, and it wasn't a huge hassle, but it was inconvenient, and it wasn't personal either. That's something that you need to understand in all of this. When somebody steals your card, chances are they don't know you. I would say 98% of the time, they don't know who you are. That other 2% is somebody who knows you and has access to your wallet or your purse. But 98% of the time, they've never been in the same room with you. They never will be. And it's just a number. They're going after the number. They're not going after you personally. Now, because of all of this, my credit is frozen, I get text alerts, and I have built healthier habits to protect not just me, but my whole family. And one of the best tips that I can give you about protecting your card is to use Apple or Google Pay. This protects your real card and uses encryption and secure practices set in place by Apple and Google. So tap to pay, for today at least, is one of the safest ways that you can pay, and I cannot encourage you enough to do it. So if you've been putting it off, it's okay. It's super simple to do. Put your credit card on your phone. It's a whole lot safer. And I want you to know, if this does happens to you, or if it happens in the future, you can recover. You're not alone. You're not a bad person. You're not irresponsible. As long as you act responsibly in responding to this, you're going to be just fine. It's going to be okay. Credit card fraud is frustrating. It is stressful. And it feels like somebody has broken into your life without ever stepping foot into your home. It's a strange sensation. But now you've got the tools, you've got options, and when you stay calm and act quickly, you're going to be in control. Being a customer of OmniWatch has a lot of great advantages like scam protection, dark web monitoring, and identity theft protection. But my favorite things so far are the email alerts about data breaches. Data breaches happen all the time, and it's hard to keep up with. OmniWatch scans those breaches for my name and personal information and lets me know if I've been compromised. Talk about peace of mind. Try OmniWatch today with a $1 7-day trial at the link in the show notes. OmniWatch has my back, and they can look out for you too. That's all that I have for the Secure Family Podcast for today. Take back your privacy and personal data with help from Delete Me. Get 20% off our privacy plan when using the code DAD at checkout. Delete Me is the official data removal service of the Secure Dad. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new today, I'd be grateful if you follow the show, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or leave a 5-star review. Your support helps me reach more families, and that truly means a lot to me and my mission. OmniWatch is a scam and identity protection service that monitors your data, alerts you to threats, and backs you up with insurance. Try OmniWatch for 7 days for only $1. Get started at the link in the show notes. If you'd like to know more about the Secure Dad, join me on Instagram and TikTok. My username for both platforms is The Secure Dad. I'm Andy Murphy, reminding you that our safety is our own responsibility.